expose you to some tools that we feel are responsible tools, but we cannot promote third-party vendors. And so you have to follow your district's policy and consult with your PSU before signing students up for digital tools. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Elise and Derek. I think Derek's going to kick us off, so they have as much time as possible. So go ahead, Derek.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Derek Lovell. I'm the partnerships rep for North Carolina and also South Carolina with MagicSchool. So I'm fortunate to meet all of you here if I haven't met you already, and certainly feel fortunate to serve the state with so many districts that have already adopted MagicSchool or are considering MagicSchool. And from our lens, we want to be a great partner that's aligned to NC DPI's priorities. That includes the cybersecurity and data privacy agreement regulations, but also the state standards that you'll find in many of your curriculum resources, and to be able to promote those curriculum resources through MagicSchool and evangelize those tools with alignment to North Carolina's priorities. So we're looking forward to sort of introducing you to MagicSchool and sharing kind of what's been popular across the state, what's come out that's new that you may not be aware of yet, and just try to create some opportunity for you to be able to see those things and to ask questions as they come up on your end. So I'll share it to my colleague, Elise Seymour, who is one of our solutions architects.
Awesome. Thanks, Derek. Excited to be here with you all today and share a little bit more about MagicSchool. So as Derek stated, my name's Elise. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I got my teaching certificate from Appalachian State, started my career in Raleigh. I'm North Carolina native, so excited to be with you all today. For today, we're really going to kind of focus on 3 pieces, really just talking a little bit about what it is, what makes us different, kind of the infrastructure behind our product. And then we'll also go into the platform, show you what all of that looks like, and then also talk about kind of some of the impact we've seen from some of our partners. So that's kind of the roadmap for today, but at any time, feel free to just pause or ask me any questions that you might have. All right, so I wanted to start because we are in a unique position here in North Carolina because we have been some of the frontiers here on the AI forefront. And so we just want to kind of recognize that you all have been at this for a while. And so we're just kind of here to support your journey and kind of what all of this looks like when it comes to that. So knowing that we have kind of our leads and frontiers in the room, we're excited to kind of just continue to enhance that and all that work that's already been kind of laid out. And we'll be talking a little more about how we kind of follow the EVERY framework and some more North Carolina DPI guidelines as well when we log in. So one of the things that we're just going to start with is something that obviously we all know here in the room, and that is that the world is shifting drastically and changing a lot. And so we have a lot of things when it comes to kind of supporting around AI that we need to consider for our students and for our staff. And so one of those is when it comes to kind of like the input into schools and how we're going to support our students as they go into college career pathways, that this is kind of an important next step. And we want to kind of recognize that as we go through. So what we're thinking when it comes to, just how we can support is really making sure that we're leading with kind of that responsible AI. And that is really going to come into play when we think about how we've kind of built the infrastructure behind the scenes and what all that looks like at MagicSchool. So obviously we know it's here to stay, it is in the classroom, and we want to make sure that we're empowering you with a responsible and constructive way to kind of use that throughout for your staff and for your students. So we don't want to leave students or staff behind, but we want to kind of target and support them both at the same time. So one of the questions that we always find going into districts is kind of this one question, like, what does this look like for responsibility, school safety? What can we do to ensure that kind of we're meeting all the priorities? And so this is something that I kind of want to address, but I'm also just going to kind of pause before I kind of go any further, and would love for you to put in the chat and think about what's your #1 priority as a district when it comes to kind of like what AI means to you. Is it student access? Is it teacher? Is it really just AI literacy? Would love to just hear a little more if you could just put in the chat about when it comes to AI priorities, what does that look like in your district? And I'll give you all like a couple of, maybe a minute or so to do that, so that I can just kind of understand what our priorities are heading into the webinar. All right, we've got AI literacy, very important. Another AI literacy. Hey, it seems like we're trending in terms of what AI literacy means for kind of our educators and for students, and also moving instructional practices so that students are engaged in enhanced learning experiences. Love that. And go Tar Heels, Holly. So this is kind of some of the pieces that we have here, and some things I can see these are kind of also some pieces that are coming to the forefront. And yes, like Stacey said, also like being hyper aware of kind of where we are in the screen time movement and making sure we're being really intentional about like how it's supporting instructional practices and moving down that line, as well as kind of those supports, of course, for our students, so that they're developing those durable skills. So these sound like, you know, of course, priorities that we hear and things that we want to be able to support you in. Just to give you kind of the lay of the land, to understanding that other, you know, districts and stakeholders had kind of similar priorities as you all. And these are kind of some of our partners when it comes to kind of across the globe. So we're with 7 million different educators across the nation and world, actually. And then we are the #1 most used platform. I also want to point out we have some strong partnerships already in North Carolina, some of you on the call. So it's always nice to talk to your neighbors. So if you see folks kind of listed here, just know that we can also kind of support in that. So we got Onslow, Pender, Rowan, Salisbury, Burt County, and some others across North Carolina. And so super excited to kind of be able to support you all in that piece. All right, so these are kind of where we are. And knowing that we built this tool specifically for your districts, for your students, and for your staffs. One of the things that does make us really unique over here is that we are 80% educators at heart. So a lot of us come directly from the classroom or come from administrative backgrounds, including our engineers, the guys, you know, creating the keystrokes behind the scenes. So really want to kind of put that at the forefront, that this is exactly why we designed things specifically with the education lens in mind. And so what that kind of looks like is our 3 tiers of safety and quality when it comes to MagicSchool. So we have 3 different pockets that are really unique and specific to our quality, safety, and visibility. So one is that we were specifically engineered for education. So when you go in and utilize the tool, you'll notice that even if you're familiar with like a Gemini or a Copilot or a Chat GPT or whatever it is, those give you kind of very generic responses. And so what we have done is loaded in kind of like a persona of educational best practices. And so when you're going into those specific tools, you're going to notice that they're grounded in those best practices, and you can really kind of get a sense for what that's like. We also have our own evaluations platforms that test all of our tools on a consistent, regular basis, so we can ensure that we are making sure that the outputs are audited for safety, for quality, for bias, etc. And so this is kind of one of the big pieces for us that makes us different. And yes, Mary, we could definitely share some of this with you all. And then the last piece is that we do have monitoring in place. So within the student side, you get to see what it is students are doing and engaging in the platform, just making sure that we're offering visibility into everything that we do. So what this looks like is it's kind of what we call our 3-layered approach. One of the things that make us most unique is kind of our bottom layer, and that is the fact that we use multiple large language models. So within all of our tools that we have in our platform, we are powered by OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini, and then a image generation with Adobe. So that is a proprietary partnership that we have. So what this allows us to do is we get to pick and choose kind of which of these large language models is powering kind of the best tool, and we consistently are monitoring and changing that. So that makes us really unique in that we're not stuck to one model. But we're definitely using kind of those frontier models in a variety of ways. I also want to point out for all my CTOs in the room and just everyone in general, we do have 0 data retention policies. So even though we use OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini, they do not and cannot use any of the data that we have to train on their models. And that has gotten us a 95% privacy rating by Common Sense. So super important for that. The second piece is the one that I mentioned, and I'll get into that. That is our evaluation phase. So instead of just going into a traditional large language model, like let's say we're opening up ChatGPT, asking a question, or asking it to thought partner with us, that is because it has directly gone to that large language model and just given you a response. We have this centerpiece in the middle, which is very different. So instead of just going to the large language model and then returning all that information back, what we're doing is different. We're going through an evaluation phase, ensuring that it is safe, ethical, pedagogically aligned. So you're getting educational best practices in that output. So it's not just direct to a large language model. We're filtering all of that on the in-between. And then at the top, that's what your folks are going to see every single day. So they're really easy tools that they just go in and use. So you don't have to be a prompt engineer or whiz to be able to kind of come in and utilize MagicSchool. And so what this looks like in everyday practice is kind of here on the screen. And obviously when we send it out, you'll get a much bigger view. But essentially on the right, this is what kind of a student interaction in MagicSchool looks like. And so this is a student who has asked for, said that they,
Okay, Elise, I think we
so
lost.
MagicSchool consistently.
Okay. We lost you for a second. I was just.
You're on mute, Elise. Oh.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the right-hand side, this is kind of an example of students that were asked going in to essentially try to hack the school computers to turn off GoGuardian, and MagicSchool would not return a response to that. And then on the left-hand side, this is what your kind of like out-of-the-box generic AI, how it does eventually return answers. So this is kind of an example of those three layers at work, and knowing that within MagicSchool, we have that security layer so that it is being tested and it is guaranteed to really kind of go through that safety and security. And so what you'll see when you log in, knowing that all of that is working for you behind the scenes, is we have 80 easy to use like AI tools for educators and 50 for students. And so that allows us to come in and kind of offer some tools that educators can use out of the box, as well as like certification courses. And of course, we're FERPA, COPPA, CIPA, all of the acronyms that you can think of when it comes to safety and security. So this, I'm just going to kind of pull over here and we're going to go live into the platform. So we have known from the time since, AI came out, and which is why y'all have developed that amazing every framework, is that one of the big things about AI is knowing kind of how to utilize it and how to audit it, but also how to prompt within it. And that is really taxing for our educators. And so what we have done is we have built AI literacy into the platform. So within all of our tools, you have the ability to come in and kind of see that instead of just an open chat box for educators and students and things like that, they're actually coming in and using these drop-down boxes that are teaching them as they go how to build kind of AI literacy skills. And this allows us to kind of take away that hidden prompt tax of educators knowing exactly what to put. So this is an example of probably what happens within a lot of your school districts. Is where on the left, you'll see that it says, help me create an 8th grade writing lesson for my students. That's probably what a lot of our educators are putting into something like a ChatGPT or Gemini Copilot. And actually what they need on the right is that full prompt to be able to get something that is standards aligned, aligned with your curriculum, and using strong instructional pedagogical practices. And we know that for our educators, a lot of that probably is just learning and understanding how that happened. So what we have done is actually gone in and defined that role for them through this AI literacy so that it's built in and they're building that as they go. So that's just kind of one of the ways that we're different when it comes to prompting.
Hey, Elise,
So
can I
I'm
jump
going
in for just a second and ask a question?
Yes, Lucy.
So I
go
love
for it.
that slide that you just had a second ago about the prompting. And when we do AI training, we have something similar where we show kind of a, a search versus a medium quality prompt versus a high quality one. The high quality one looks like that block of text over there on the right. And so I wonder if you have seen in your experience, or maybe people who are on the call, if they are feeling like that too, that, that thing that you mentioned about, one teacher might have good skills and put in all the information, but then the next, no guarantee that that's the same experience for everyone. I wonder if you see that in real life, or for the folks in the chat, if you feel like that resonates with you, or is it just me?
Definitely, I can say, Stacey, it resonates with me. And honestly, you could catch me on a Monday doing a prompt like this on the right, and on Wednesday, I might have reverted back to the prompt on the left, just kind of knowing where we are in the skills that we are. And so this is something that we work with specifically with districts, is around like building AI literacy prompting and supporting. And that's also why we built the tools that the way they did, is to kind of help educators really start to understand these are kind of all the pieces that you really need to put into a solid prompt. And this is just such a shift for us, right? We're used to Google searching, which is so concise and short. And so this is really kind of a pedagogical shift for all of us in the space. And so we want to kind of give as much support along that way. But would love to hear, along with Stacey, if anyone else in the district, what your experience has been. I see Shannon said that they've seen it frequently, but yes, Suzette.
Hi, everyone. I'm not from your district. I'm actually from Jamaica, Caribbean, yes. I'm welcoming this new initiative because what happened is that in the Caribbean, I can speak for persons who are using Magic AI in our school educational system, and some of them are not tech savvy. They don't really know what a high quality versus a low quality prompt looks like. So with the embedded AI literacy, infused in the platform, it's a good look, because now all they need to do is just to give it the information that is required, and it actually generates all the things that they need. Because I utilize your platform the other day to break down a curriculum that they have a problem using in their classroom in a simple form, and persons were very taken away with just using the project-based learning, as well as the worksheet generator option on your platform. So I'm engaged in learning more things that you can be able to add to the platform.
I'll add a quick voice over here too. I'm in conversations quite a bit with districts, whether it's an academic or technology perspective, about how they can sort of promote AI literacy and build prompts within the tools that they want to offer. And you usually have this combination of, wanting to have consistency of those tools to where everyone is rowing in the same direction with the same outcome and intent of the tool. So what we could do is create a tool that has a very easy to use front end of it, like you've seen here in Elise's screenshot. But on the background, we're sort of guiding the prompt to do exactly what your district wants to promote, and even infuse some of your templates and different care abouts within the backend prompt, where that doesn't have to be actively put in every time that a stakeholder would use the tool. So that's also part of what happens in the background, and what I've seen educators especially as they engage with the tool. Yep, Suzette.
I actually finished talking, but that's a good look too. What I wanted to find out, and I realized that on the end where you actually, it actually uses the initiative of adding resource documents, so you can build out your prompts in terms of, say for instance, you wanted to create a quiz that will be done for the end of semester. So you can add a course outline, you can add some other resource documents to include inside of that test, and then probably play around with adding more resource images to make it a little bit more playful for the persons doing it. What I realize is that you can also ask it to do it, to provide differentiated learning instructions within the platform, because what I did was to create my prompt and just put it right in there. But when I came on now and heard that you actually have a drop down, that is even better, because I'll be training some educators within the next 2 weeks, and your platform will be one of the major platforms that I'll be using, because it's very intuitive, it's very playful. It does not look tech savvy in terms of when you go on it. It's simple, and it works along with any curriculum that you have to make it your own. So that's what I like about it. It's very engaging. So continue building out the platform.
Awesome. We'd love to hear some real examples. So thanks for sharing that, Suzette. And we're going to actually log in and just check it out kind of live as we go. So I'm going to give you all a second. If you do not have an account, you can go to MagicSchool.ai to sign up for a free account. So I'm going to give you all a second just to kind of go there and log in. And then I am going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll just take a dive into the platform for a bit.
At least you got muted again if you're trying to talk.
Here we go. This is my day, everyone. Okay. So we are here. If you have any questions though, logging in, just let me know. I'll put it in the chat. Like Stacey said, you can just go to MagicSchool.ai and sign up for a free account. So you'll be asked a couple of questions if this is your first time when you first log in, just, some generic grade level, or are you administrator, what subjects, et cetera, just so we know kind of which recommendations to give. And then once you log in, what you're going to see is this is our collection of tools. And as we've kind of been talking about, one of the things that does make us unique is you have the ability to come into a particular tool. Let's say I wanted a multiple choice quiz assessment. And without the tax of having to know how to prompt, we're going to give you all these drop-down boxes. And then we're also going to give you exemplars in the right-hand corner to help kind of guide even your most kind of resistant educators so that they can come in and have a grade level and know exactly what to put in. And so we're able to come in, and we're already going to be North Carolina aligned. So I can come in and say I'm 7th grade, teaching mitosis. And then you're able to come in and just click generate. And then you'll start to see kind of the quiz and supports as we go. So this is one of the ways that we really kind of can support in terms of thinking, how can I support my educators in just doing exit tickets quicker, or what are some standards aligned things that I can focus on. And so this is really what we were built around, is just having that ability to come in and create standards aligned instructional materials that are guided and aligned to your specific pieces. And then from there, what's nice is you then have the ability to kind of copy it out or move it into a different place. I will just note, within the free version, this gives you a really great opportunity to come in and get some really great tools. And then once you're a partner, you have the updates down here where you can continue that message. Really great question, Shannon, about the state standards. We have our own kind of state standards tool that we pull from, so we do not rely on large language models to give us those state standards, because we know that they tend to be a little stagnant. So we're able to update and change those out frequently. And within your within the tool, that's something that we work really hard to make sure we've done. So those are just a couple of pieces. So like I said, you can come in, you can join from or choose from a variety of tools. You can also come in and choose like our filter categories. So whether you're looking for instructional materials, planning, student support, feedback and assessment, communication, engagement, or administrative tasks, you have the ability to come in. One of our most famous for administrators is that teacher observation. So tools that you can really kind of come in and utilize regardless of whether you're an educator, a peer professional, an administrator, or a district lead. There's definitely going to be a tool in here to support all of you. And so for MagicSchool, I could come in and I could say, okay, I actually want to come in and create a survey maybe. And then once again, you're filling out your grade level, number of questions, topic of survey. We also have opportunities for you to embed and upload files, which is really nice. So if I have like let's say I have a parent night coming up and I've sent a flyer out, but now I want like to generate a survey for the first, like the first couple days to just gather kind of input. You can actually come in and upload that file, and then MagicSchool will work with you to be able to kind of generate some more really specific. So think of this like your kind of natural knowledge base and ways that you can utilize it. You could even take things directly from the website, take a screenshot, etc. So lots of opportunities for that. I think I got muted again. I'm just talking away over here. All right. So then as you come through, this is just kind of a variety of ways that our tools work really specifically. And you can always come in and generate. So wanted to pause and just give you an opportunity to maybe come in and look at some of these student tools. We'll kind of talk about this more towards the end, but you can see all of our tools out of the box. And then within our partnership level, we do have an opportunity to create custom tools specific to you. So that is something that comes with a partnership. But here in the free version, which is nice, you have 80 different tools that you can come in and choose from. So offering you a variety of opportunities to try something out there. All right. Wanted to just kind of draw your attention to on the left-hand side of MagicSchool, you also can come in and definitely you have your opportunity for output history. So, nothing gets lost within the free version. You can see kind of your last 5 outputs over here on the left. And then we also have a resource library where you can come in and pull particular things. What I want to focus on next on the left-hand side is our open house chatbot. So as we kind of had discussed earlier in the day here, we do know that all of us have different levels of educators at different levels of prompting. So for our educators that really are going to need more support in understanding how to build a really strong prompt, I would lean then towards your teacher tools because it's going to have kind of all of that built in, grade level, drop-down boxes, things like that. For your educators or staff that really have kind of more of that prompting skill and are looking for an open chatbot, we have our in-house chatbot called Raina. And what this does is it is aligned with the pedagogical practices of education on top of it. So it's not like it's just fetching material straight from ChatGPT or Gemini. We have that middle layer where it's building in kind of that pedagogy. So I can come in and ask it for very specific things. We'll give you some examples. So here I might say, summarize recent research on AI literacy in K-12 education. Maybe I'm just interested in learning a little more. And then it'll begin to kind of pull that information for you. And then as it works, you can see down here that we have like the fastest, the smartest, and the thinking. So you can move from those different levels. Okay, so then I can come in and I can see kind of all this information. And so this just gives us a really kind of good understanding and you can continue the conversation. So Raina really does act like a kind of a really good in-house chatbot, and you'll notice. Sorry, give me a second. You'll notice that right here, you'll have all of those kind of different pieces as we go. Okay. Any questions about Raina? Has anyone played around with this chatbot yet? Okay, if not, then good, perfect. Well, I do encourage you to come in. This is going to be great. And I think too, like we've gotten a lot of administrators who have utilized this for like end of day activities. Or another thing that's been really helpful is like creating classroom teaching assignments or grouping and things like that. So think about it as a way to kind of come in and utilize it any way that you may need. Love to see we've got some folks that are familiar and used. Okay, I want to spend the next kind of half of our time talking a little bit about the student side of MagicSchool because this is going to be very different and very unique. So MagicSchool has its own set of student tools, and I want to just kind of clarify how this works. So as you learned, we do have over 50 tools. You can kind of see them here as I'm scrolling. But what is important about MagicSchool is that no student can come in and just access these tools. A teacher must set up what we call rooms. It's just kind of like a space for students to come in and add those rooms. So what they do is they create a room and then they add in specific tools. So we have that extra safety guards in place. This is going to be really important because, monitoring student in AI is going to be super important. And so we want to be able to kind of come in and support that. And to kind of go to Derek's point here a little bit, we also have some new pieces. So if you're familiar, we have changed on the student side to no longer include anything that is kind of has a character or persona to it. And this is something that we found through our research. So we completely disabled Raina on the student side because we felt like through our research, what we were seeing is essentially like students were thinking it was a real person, and that's a problem. So we have disabled that, and it has completely gone into kind of more of an opportunity for students to just have an AI learning assistant. And I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like in real life. So we take safety and security, especially student sides, very seriously. And so for teachers, they come in and they created specific rooms. And then they add the tools that they want. So as a teacher, I can come in. It's very simple. They can just come in and start adding tools. You'll see that I have the study bot here. And then as my students begin to join, I can come in and kind of see what it is they're working with. As a teacher, if my student says anything that is inappropriate, it automatically gets flagged for me. And I can go in and look at that student's output, open it up, and see exactly what it was that got flagged. Okay. This is stupid. How is this relevant? Okay. This is something that maybe I need to kind of address with the student. And so the teacher automatically has insights into exactly what's happening. And then they can actually come in and pause their activity for that student. So it'll lock them out. So they don't have the opportunity to go in and continue that conversation. So when it comes to kind of the student side of things, we really believe it's important to keep students safe and to keep educators informed and knowing exactly what's happening. So I'm going to actually go in and show you a little bit about what this looks like on the student side so you get a sense of how this looks. So give me a second and I'll just log right in here. All right, let me reshare my screen. Okay, so this is exactly what kind of a student view is going to look like. So one of the
We
main
lost your screen share. Okay, there we go. Sorry.
Perfect. Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Thank you. So one of the things here is students, they'll get their kind of responsibility pledge here in the beginning. Obviously read aloud options, and then they come in and acknowledge. And then they can come in and start using the study bot. This was built specifically to kind of help our students when it comes to kind of preparing for the end of course tests. So I just want to show you kind of how our safeguards work in practice. So if I'm a student and I'm having a bad day, I could come in and say, hey, I'm having a really bad day. I just wanted to come here to talk to a friend. Okay, and as soon as they send a message like that at MagicSchool, you're going to notice that we're automatically going to come back and just let them know, hey, I'm actually not a companion or a friend or here to provide emotional support. I'm here as an educational tool. And this is something that's super important when we think about kind of that student side of the house and just making sure that we have things available and making sure that we're really understanding kind of our students' needs. So just know that this is something that we take seriously, and I just want to kind of show you what it looks like in action. And then I could come in and say, like, I understand, and now I'm ready to start my practice test. For your multilingual learners, they can come in and they can translate the message, so they can utilize this in their native language. They can also come in and utilize voice to text, and we also have accessibility features built right in. So they have all that opportunity.
You went on mute again, Elise.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So then you can come in and you can kind of see these questions right here as we go. And then the students can continue, like I said, accessibility, read alouds, all of those pieces. So for a teacher, this really does give an opportunity to differentiate. And it also gives them the opportunity to just kind of have things in their native language and supports so that students are really able to access learning wherever they are in the process. So something super important. And then if we were to flip back to the teacher side of the house, I now as a teacher can come in and I can see that the student right here is active and exactly kind of what that output has looked like. So that really does give us an opportunity to come in and see things. And then you also can get insights at a greater level for the teacher piece. So I don't have to go in individual student to individual student, but I can actually come in and just kind of look more as a whole. It's what's happening across my students, the generations, et cetera, and get a better understanding of kind of how it is that they're meeting those needs. So it's important for kind of educators to be able to see kind of all those different insights and understand that it doesn't have to be at a particular student level, but I can come in and see actually the whole group as well. So within our student tools, I'm just going to give you a second here to kind of look. Here are some different ones that we have. We are, because we are COPPA, we are K-12. So I do just want to point out that we are K-12. And how this is used a lot in kind of elementary rooms is to really kind of start with what you all talked about around AI literacy. So being able to kind of create like a group room where they use it in a whole group setting. And we have things like, the character chatbots, which it will definitely let them know, hey, this is a character, not a real person. Book suggestions, 5 questions. So these are things where we've seen a lot of elementary teachers kind of come in and utilize these in more of a whole group setting to be able to just kind of generate some understanding for our students on how to use AI safely and responsibly. And then for our more secondary style students, a lot around like tutoring, AI literacy, and supports. And you could even find over here on the left, we have a lot of resources that are available in terms of like templates and rooms that you can set up. So we've given you kind of some starting points and some things you can see right there, some AI literacy and digital citizenship ready to go. So those are some ways that we kind of support our students when it comes to kind of that AI literacy. But I just want to pause there and see what kind of questions we might have on the student side.
I'll add a voice over here too. A lot of districts have shared that they have various different levels of want to expose AI to students, and whether that's district specific or community specific, and how that drives your perception of AI being shared with students. MagicSchool offers both a parent consent letter, a letter to families, templates to sort of introduce what they're going to be exposed to as a student, and to get sort of an acknowledgement from the student that they're intending to use AI with proper use through MagicSchool. So we're cognizant of those different opinions, and try to offer as much sort of transparency about how we introduce AI to students. But ultimately, it's the teacher and central office's approach of whether or not they're a stakeholder that's provisioned to access MagicSchool. So nothing's going to be shared with students as a stakeholder within MagicSchool unless they're promoted to do so. And you can certainly limit tool exposure based on the preferences of your district and how you want to introduce AI to students. That doesn't happen. That doesn't have to happen at the same time that you choose to introduce it to staff. You can stagger it, but we certainly believe in preparing students for college and career readiness, and involving them as a stakeholder with AI, and preparing them for jobs that do not exist yet. So as much as you're comfortable with introducing AI to students, we have a safe and secure platform to begin to expose them to that.
Thanks, Derek. And we've got some good questions in the chat that I just want to kind of highlight too. Shannon, great question, or great call out kind of that you had trained the middle school teachers, and the flagging was fun. So I'm interested to hear how the students had fun figuring out what to flag. For Donna, your question is, once they create a room, they do get kind of the share info. And so when they click share, you can either join it by URL, Google Classroom, or code. So that's kind of one question. And then let's see. No, we should be out of beta at this point, Shannon. But yes, we do like to test a lot of things, but definitely that should be out of beta at this point, I believe. And then I would love to hear, so Donna had a question about a piece where students start with a blank chat instead of scaffolded questions. So one of the tools, Donna, and you can tell me if this is kind of what you're looking for, one of the tools that we do have in our student and teacher side is just custom chatbots. And so when they click on a custom chatbot, load for me, they get to kind of decide how they want that chatbot to respond. So for you, I'm thinking like, this doesn't have to be, teachers could say like, hey, make a blank example or whatever it is. So this is kind of an example of how that would work. As they can come in, and when teachers assign things to the room, they just kind of set up all the parameters so they can decide exactly how that tool would look. And good question, Paige. Teachers always will kind of get a notification. In partnerships, in our enterprise version 2, districts also get a setup who gets flags, and they're more moderation and safety controls. So that's something to at a partnership level. But great question. Any other questions? Okay.
I have a question. I have a question, Elise.
Yep, go ahead.
One of the things that teachers have asked about as we've been doing some training about how to use rooms is they want to be able to share the rooms with other teachers so that, like, for example, I did a sample room on the book Refugee, and all of our 7th grade classes read it. And they're like, oh, can you just share the room? Well, we made a template and put all the information into it that we used to make the room so that we could share it with them. But is there a way for teachers, once they've got a room established or a tool that works really well, to be able to share that with other teachers? Because it's really the tool that needs sharing, not the room.
Great question, Shannon. Yes, good question. We literally, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Derek can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 2 weeks ago that we just rolled out our custom student tools. So previously they were just on the teacher side, but now you can actually come in and create a student custom tool. So when you create kind of those templates, this now can live here, and it can be from that library that they choose from. The other option too that I would also like to share with you, and you probably know this, but just for others in the room, is once you create a room and you come back to your room, you can also make people co-teachers. So if I come to this room and you wanted to share it with like multiple teachers in a co-teaching setting, you're able to come in and you're able to manage co-teachers and add other teachers to the room. So if you've got some things set up and you wanted to make them co-teachers, you have that ability to do that as well.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question, Shannon?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I know that we're kind of here in the last 15, and I do want to give as much time as possible too to allow y'all to ask us some more questions at the end. So I just wanted to kind of go through and share a couple of things, and just share a little bit more kind of about where we are. So one of the exciting things is that we also just recently had released our summary. So we've done a lot of data. As a room full of educators, we love data. And so what we did is we have measured over several thousand different teachers, classrooms, districts, just to see kind of where Magic School is showing up. I know you all have heard it'll save teachers time, but we wanted to get a little deeper than that and understand, like, is this actually driving student outcomes? How is this supporting with differentiation, more just beyond kind of the time save? And so kind of really what we had found is that a lot of our districts had really given us a lot of information around 50, and this is a stat that you can learn more if you click here, and we'll give you the PowerPoint. Over about 60% of educators say that they came to support Magic School, Magic Schools of support in terms of differentiation and support, and it helps them kind of meet the needs of their diverse learners. along with, 77% over here saying like it just helped me just be better all around, and helped navigate some difficult AI adoption. So these are just some pieces that we really believe in. We've had strong reports when it comes to kind of being able to support public school. Aurora Public is one that we did a case study with that you might have heard with, where they used very specific Magic School tools and had a 28% jump in literacy gains. So just being able to really be and support you all in terms of implementation and specificity around kind of how those tools are, more than just saving time, but also when it comes to differentiation, accommodations, and supporting a variety of learners. So we've just done a ton of research around this, and encourage you kind of to all check that out for yourself as well. One last thing before I'm going to probably turn it over to you all for questions. We talked a lot today about the free version of MagicSchool. Everything you saw today, you can do in the free version. Also just kind of want to point out that Enterprise is our paid partnership, and it does look different. So you get access to customized tools aligned to your district state standards or district instructional materials, custom data privacy agreements, customized PD. You can read the slides here, but it just kind of goes to share with you all just a little bit more about kind of what that looks like. And so we could be happy to share more. And if you're interested, Derek, I put his information here just to give you all a sense. But just wanted to kind of point that out there at the end. But like I said, you have access to kind of everything.